saving hundreds of people around the country every day. And for those that they've helped, they represent courage, heroism and safety.
But for 70-year-old Elizabeth Hall, the mere thought or glimpse of the fire service is enough to send her into meltdown.
Elizabeth got in touch for our phone-in on the show last week.
Now, unfortunately, we ran out of time, so we couldn't speak with her live on air. But knowing that this phobia is potentially life-threatening,
We knew that we had to do something to help her and do it quickly.
so here we are at Elizabeth's house, and hopefully today we'll extinguish this phobia for good.
Elizabeth traces her phobia back to the first ever encounter she had with a fire truck when she was just 3 years old.
My cousin and I used to go to dancing class, and she's a few years older than me, and we'd be running off in front, and, you know, mums would say, don't go past there, you know, it's dangerous.
Yes, yes, yes.
We used to stand at the edge with his toes right there, and I'd look round and see if it was there. It was just a single engine, and my cousin would just go, it's going to get you.
So you didn't actually have a problem with it at that point, because you were happily just looking at it?
I was just looking to see if it was there, so to cross the road.
Yeah,
across
so
the
it was no big deal at that point?
No.
You could say it's silly and have a laugh about it, but I can see that it's a nervous laugh because you're suffering with it, and you have done for a long time.
I nearly didn't have a fire alarm, new fire alarm fitted, because when I rang up and he said, oh yes, we'll come and fit your new fire alarm. So I said, OK. And he said, I said, what do you come in? And he went, a fire engine. I went, oh, it don't matter.
This literally could be life-threatening for you, and you're a nana. We need to make sure that you're always safe.
In order to help Elizabeth, we needed to see how extreme her phobia is. And to do that, we asked her to drive to the local fire station.
So I can already see that as we get closer to the fire station that your breathing started to change. I can say, are your palms getting sweaty? Because I can see you...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep drying your hand.
Are these the lights?
Yeah, it's there. It's just there.
It's just there. And there's cars behind us that are probably thinking, well, why is she not going up to the lights?
Oh, they usually pit me. Well, I don't come up here, but...
Yeah,
what I mean?
There you go. Right, because they're thinking, well, what's wrong? Tell me what's going on in your mind now.
I want to go out and run away.
For you to scale your anxiety now out of 10, where are you?
20.
20? And that's just because the fire station's there?
Yeah, because there's a dip in the road there, whereas they can come straight out and they can come anywhere. You know, they're not governed to go in one way.
So you were nowhere near the traffic lights then, and we had to hold, so you could just carry on. So you won't even look at it, will you? It's obvious that Elizabeth is suffering and desperately needs our help.
Seeing that this phobia is so deeply embedded in Elizabeth, we had to go back to her house to start the therapy.
You can't carry on living like this, and I wish I would have seen you years ago. But when you rang in for the phone and you said, it's a really stupid phobia, but I hope you realise now that it's not. You're adapting your life around something that is debilitating. We've identified the moment that Elizabeth learned her phobia, and the first thing we need to do is to make her realise that there is nothing to fear. When you were walking towards that fire station when you're 3 years of age, the adult said to you, stop, because it's dangerous. As a parent myself, that your mum and your auntie would have been saying, crossing off that pavement is dangerous.
Yeah.
But as a 3-year-old, you thought, oh, what's dangerous? Oh, it must be the fire station that's dangerous. So now you think that fire stations are dangerous. And then your cousin ramped that up in the biggest way possible because she got hold of you. And what did she say?
It's going to get you.
It's going to get you. And from that moment, that's when the fear was created.
Elizabeth is still clinging on to a phobia that she learnt 67 years ago. And we now need to erase an entire lifetime's worth of negative thoughts.
A 3-year-old girl set this up, and what you've got going on now is you've got this conflict between the 3-year-old and the 70-year-old lady. And what you're actually doing to this very day is you're taking advice off a 3-year-old about fire engines.
But what I want to ask you now, taking you back 67 years, what did that fire station do to you?
Nothing.
Sorry?
Nothing at all.
What was the fire engine doing?
Nothing.
Just stood there waiting to rescue.
Stood there, yeah.
Waiting to help somebody.
I'd never really thought of it like that.
We think we've made a breakthrough.
But now the big question, has Elizabeth truly overcome her fear?
Well, it seems we've been left on a bit of a cliffhanger, but hang on a second. What is that Oh, my goodness, wow. Ow!
Hi, Elizabeth!
Oh, my goodness me, Elizabeth.
Well, hello there.
Well, I think we can tell what's happened.
We give you a hand down
You
down
be
there.
careful, please, please, please.
I
Hello,
so want to go on that
Speakmans.
siren in a minute, by the way.
What's this? Oh, my goodness me. That's the first, isn't it? A fire engine inside this morning's studio. Hi, so nice to meet you.
And you?
Well
How
done,
lovely
you.
to see you. Well done.
Thank
you very much
you.
indeed.
Thank you.
67 years of unnecessary fear. I mean, how do you feel now you can do this?
I wouldn't have dreamt I could have even gone anywhere near one, let alone sit in one.
You had a girls' night out, and you were all at a big old disco sort of club thing, and started to play Disco Inferno. Out comes a male stripper dressed as a fireman, and you run out the room.
Yeah, I jumped over the table and ran.
Oh, my goodness. So what do your family think now that you've managed to overcome this fear and that you've just arrived
They
in a
just
fire?
said, about time,
Yeah.
you know, but you don't realise, because it's such a silly fear,
Yeah.
you don't realise. Nick said about it being disabling, and I thought, no, it's not. But the way I feel now, I've lived my life sort of one eye and one ear on.
Yeah,
It's
of
just-
course.
it's just
And that's
silly.
the thing, isn't it? I mean, she describes it as a silly fear, but it's not. It's
Absolutely
so
not.
real.
Absolutely not. When we met Elizabeth, we could say how debilitating it was, and she was really, really suffering. And she said to me earlier this morning, she said, this has really, really changed her life in so many areas that she never thought possible.
And for me, what I didn't realise, and she said to us today, is that she can actually sleep, because even when she was sleeping at night, she couldn't go into a deep sleep because she knew she wouldn't be able to call the fire service if there was some sort of a danger. So it could have been a really dangerous phobia,
Yeah,
this.
it was. That's for
But,
sure.
yeah.
And so, and some people do watch this and say, "Oh, how ridiculous! It is ridiculous. These fears, you know, it's all made up for television." I mean, the thing is that these do, as we've seen here, profoundly change people's lives.
Totally, and this was a life-threatening phobia, and to suffer for 67 years, and say she just had a life. It's amazing, isn't it? Elizabeth said, "My life started at 70."
Yeah.
Ah,
Amazing.
Well,
Well,
done,
it's so
you.
lovely to see you.